making money, so I didn't need.
I'm making money too, but I apply because I want to be able to bring in more people. We talk more about that. Yeah. If you feel like it afterwards, tonight or in the morning, I'm always open on Friday mornings.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going live on YouTube. And we are officially live. All right. That's what I wanted to hear. All right. Well, great, everybody. Welcome again to the Thursday Night Thought. Of course, I am Marian, Sister Afua, here in existence. And I just want to share with you, I'm going to make sure all that conversation that we are going to be having tonight. You guys probably heard, if you were on time, you probably heard a little bit of me and Pamela's introductory conversation when we were talking about this PPP money as business owners. And I just want to say to you that one of the things that this conversation, the goal of this conversation is to make sure that everyone that is participating and listening has the opportunity to really understand how to navigate through this system of money and compoundment, right? Of your assets, of your resources. But so many of us are not always able to be part of a new way of thinking, a new way of processing data, a new way of experiencing life. Yes, we're in a quote unquote pandemic. It's real, it's live, and it's in action. But what's more important for us is that we have to begin to really think about where we are as a community, where we are globally, and how we can really begin to live our lives, not from a place of retrospection. We're just kind of focusing on what happened last year, what happened last week, what happened, when we did this thing. It is about focusing on the right now. So as I said, we are here for this Thursday Night Thought, and our conversation is true. We're going to talk about how to prepare your mind, how to manage your behaviors, and how to set sail on the sea of financial prosperity and wellness. That's our conversation tonight. And I'm joined by two of my favorite people that I like to have conversations with, because not only can we talk about money, but we also can talk about life and joys and expansion and fun things. And we have a lot in common. And that's an honor when you meet people like that. So I'm going to introduce them to you tonight so that you can really understand why they were chosen to be part of this conversation with us on tonight here on the Thursday Thought. So up next, I'm pulling up too much information. So we're going to start out with Anita Johnson. Anita Johnson is a financial behaviorist, and she takes money from a holistic approach, focusing on enhancing her your financial well-being, while understanding your emotional behavior around money. Anita knows once the client understands their anxiety around money, he or she can make clear and concise decisions that will affect your legacy. Anita has spoken and counseled on a number of organizations, along with receiving awards while sitting on a number of boards and commissions. So now you get to listen to her as she tries to give us a little bit of that and guide us through to find our financial voice. Welcome, Anita.
Hello, how's everybody doing tonight?
We are good. We got a bunch of folks looking already pulling in on Facebook.
Great.
We're going to be doing this, and we're going to be going live. We're also live on YouTube tonight. And then up next, I want to introduce Pamela Sams. Pamela is known as a financial navigator. Why can't I talk tonight? 16 years. Pamela has been helping women to improve their personal and financial wealth through a solid financial life planning. Pamela believes it is important to align your money decisions with what's important in your life. High five. She knows how to listen, engage in meaningful conversations with clients to gain a better understanding of what's important to them, their goals, and their value. Pam believes in financial planning is about a woman's values, not just their money. Pamela's education and training enables her to help clients successfully navigate through the myriad of personal and financial decisions they face during their lives. She assists them by working to attain a higher level of financial security through education, understanding, scenario planning, With this knowledge, she's developed a customized approach to each of her clients' needs. She's become a strong voice in the personal finance of women, having been quoted in numerous articles, including Bloomberg.com, Christian Science Monitor, Equifax.com, FiduciaryNews.com, and Financial Planning Magazine. Welcome, Pamela Sams.
Good to be here once again and doing this thing.
I know we are getting this thing done over and over again. And the reason why I want to get it done is because there is so much that we have to offer. And I think that people are being distracted. And I love the way the two of you speak. You speak in such clarity about the things that most people make complex. And so when you do that, we tend to lose people and people give up, right? And I want to have a conversation tonight that encourages people to get into a space where they can feel more confident and more assured in who they are and what their desires are in their life, and reach all of those goals and purposes so they can move forward. Is that all right with everybody?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yes.
good. Well, of course, I am Dr. Marian Sister Ford. Most of you know who I am, but my company is called Exponential Existence, and we are a personal development and self-transformational company here in Arizona. We are helping people to repurpose their thoughts, be able to manage their spiritual awareness and activation in order to have a life called holistic prosperity and create an exponential existence, a life without any boundaries, without limitations, that allows them to expand and become exactly who they agreed to be with their original assignment. So that's what we're all about. So now you know all the formal things. Let's get to the skinny of tonight, right? So we've all been qualified in this moment. So let's get to the real skinny. When we talk about money, people kind of might be in a space right now where they're saying, well, how could they possibly be talking about money when everybody's talking about they don't have money? 50 million people are applying for unemployment. Businesses are waiting for financial relief. What do we say to these people? I want to ask each of you that question. What can we say to people in this time about why we should still be having money conversations now more than ever when all of this is going on? I'll go with you first, Anita.
Wow, that's a deep question.
I got some deep sisters on here.
Shoot, you should ask Pam first so I can follow her lead.
Okay,
But that's okay. I'm good. You know how you
what y'all
cheat
want
on
me to
piece of
say?
paper? You know how when you in high
Right,
school,
I saw you. Listen, I saw you looking over her paper. Look, I'm looking. I got my teacher hat on. I'm looking.
I want to look at Pam's paper too. But anyway, you know, that's really a complex question. I think one of the things about money, because money is a tool, and that's how we have to look at money, as a tool. And sometimes we don't look at money as a tool, although we have this pandemic going on and so forth and so on. We still gonna have to have some money to get around, and so we should still be talking about how we can figure out how to get some money legally. And you know, I've always said that people need to have 2 to 3, maybe 4 streams of income. If you know anything about me, I'm a serial entrepreneur. Okay, so I try to have more than one stream of income. And we actually really need to talk about not just the money that you earn, but how do you make that money earn money for you? And I think that's important. And I think people just don't understand how money is the function of money, the function of your finances, and they don't have a great relationship. So that happened before all this crisis has come on, and now this crisis has come, and we still are, and we when we get out of this crisis, we still won't have that relationship with money. And I think we need to learn about the function and how to make money our friend.
Absolutely. I like that idea. Make it our,
Mm.
that's my thing, honey. I like to date money. Money is my long-term partner.
Money never lets me down. It comes on
It ain't
time.
going nowhere.
It ain't late.
Absolutely.
It ain't late. It don't talk back, you know.
And it makes me feel so good.
And it makes me feel so good. I love
Absolutely,
it.
positively. Thank you for that, Anita. Thank you. What about you, Pam? What are some thoughts you have around that? Like, why is this conversation important from your perspective?
Yeah, I mean, I think I want to add on to what Anita had mentioned is that um, you needed to kind of figure out where you were before all of this. This is going to be,
Mhm.
I think I shared with you before in another conversation. This is a period of time where it's and it's going to end. So
Mhm.
it's something that has occurred. You need to start developing those habits now while you have the downtime to really
Mhm.
reflect.
Mm,
And I think what
Mhm.
has happened is that you do need to, and what I have been getting a lot of phone calls about is that, people are at home and they're figuring out, I'm not where I want to be financially, and what do I need to do about it? That conversation is never going to change, no matter, if we're in this
Mhm.
pandemic or,
Or not.
when you
Mhm.
retire or whatever the case may be, you still have to have a relationship with money. And I think this pandemic has been a wake up call for some people to really figure out,
Mhm.
okay, I'm not where I need to be financially. I don't want to have to go on unemployment again. How do I create, like Anita was saying, those streams of income? So if something happened to my first source of income, I'm okay, I'm set. Or having the cash reserve amounts that we had talked about prior in prior conversations, 3 to 6 months worth of cash reserves somewhere set aside or in some type of account where you can get access to it if you need to. So those are really some of the things that you really need to kind of figure out now when you have the downtime. Figure out your money story, your relationship with money, and then really how to develop multiple streams of income so you don't have to be in this situation again.
I think you said something right there. Like you said, this is a perfect time. Like you said, we have the time. And I know
Mhm.
that some people may be working at home, but when you're between phone calls, when you're answering things, when you get your break, now you're not running to the break room to get into conversations that are not about elevation and confirming your vision, your wishes, your hopes, and your dreams. Now you're able to actually apply this time to now. And that goes back to what I always talk about, prioritization of yourself. How do you prioritize yourself? A lot of people are struggling because they're used to waiting for someone to tell them what to do. Hey,
Mhm.
you got to be at work at 7 o'clock. You take a
Mhm.
break at 11 o'clock.
Mhm.
To take your lunch at 12:30, and then you got to clock out by 3:30 or 4 or whatever that time is. You got to have so many calls done, or you need to process so much information. And I think that when we look at that, it becomes important for us to consider that how that looks for us. So now that we're home every day, all day, even I've moved my office home. And now that we've moved into a space of our home, this is the time to really get clear and prioritize. This is the time to really look at all the liabilities that you have allowed to rest easily upon your thoughts, upon your daily life, your physical body, how to end your conversations. How do you go about examining the power of your knowing right now, right? Everything you've ever thought, that car note that you rush to get so you can have a way to get to work, can you look at it in a different perspective? Not that you're going to get rid of it, but that you're actually going to be using it to build. So my next question I want to ask y'all, can you talk about, now we know why we're going to have this talk. What does it really mean to be a financial navigator? Like why do I need a navigator? Why can't I just go out there and jump in the middle of the water and just do what I got to do? Why can't I do that, Pam?
I guess, if you know how to swim, yes. I mean, the navigation part really comes into play where, I've been doing this for almost 20 years and I kind of know what the river looks like down the road. And then really being able to navigate and steer people where
Mhm.
those where they need to focus in on, so they're not jumping in those rough waters and then drowning. And they know what's coming down the pike, or I can tell them, okay, have you thought about this, have you thought about this, and can foresee what has come. We've been through a financial crisis before. We were into '08 and '09. I knew what that looked like, and similar, but a little bit different because, like I said, this is a kind of a finite period of time. After we get a vaccine or a treatment or something, it's going to go away. Things will come back. Things will continue as I wouldn't say as normal, but it will continue. But knowing how, what happened in the past, how you need to react now. So looking at that navigation piece, okay, yeah, we're all in a financial crisis right now. The stock market's acting up, unemployment's high. What did we do back then? We survived '08, we survived '09. So what do we need to do differently? Now, knowing what we knew in the past, and that's where that navigation piece comes. And people, and I'm sure Anita will agree with me from a behavioral standpoint, we have short-term memory. And you're like, okay, yeah, that happened. We've been that. We know how to react. But now it's like something new. We through it. We know how, but it's something about that behavioral piece of that, and I go through a lot of that with my clients as well, is that once that fear sets in and that monkey brain comes in, you just lose focus and you're like not knowing how to respond, even though you've been through the same situation prior. So those are some of the things that I try to bring it back into perspective from a navigation standpoint, is that, you really try to manage things that you can control, because we can't control what's going on with this pandemic. We can't control what's going on with, the economy. What can you control in your own household during this time period to change your money story and your relationship with money? What can you control to make things differently? That's the piece that I want to focus on when I tell people how to navigate this whole money thing.
Yes. That's really good. I was on a call with Tim Glover. I don't know if you know who that is. So he's a big guru thing, and he worked with Michael Jordan, Kobe, trained all these folks in the NBA, and then became this great business person. And that's one of the things he said. He said, stop getting distracted by things that are outside of your touch. And he told a story about Michael Jordan, that like he used to tell Michael Jordan, like, hey, you need to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And he would tell him to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And he would look up and Michael has already did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 at least 3 times and trying to figure out how to create 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And he said that's the difference in Michael Jordan. That's what made him different, in that he was always open to seeing a different perspective of what he saw every day. That was so good to me, y'all. I get excited when I hear things like that, because I'm a big mindset person. And when we think about your thoughts frame your reality, become the frames for your realities, right? Because your beliefs form your thoughts form your framework. And that really meant something. And I see why they said, even though he got cut, he still played basketball. Even though he got chosen for the NBA and not the Major League Baseball League, he was able to go. And I guess there was some kind of film that's out now about him and his life. I wouldn't know. Them days of basketball participation, it's over with. But I really appreciate that you said manage what you can right now in your household. In your household. That's good. Anita, did you want to chime in on that at all? About this as a behaviorist, how do you look at it? Because she's the navigator and you're helping us look at our behaviors. What would you say to those of us who are, to people today, like how, as a behaviorist, how should we be looking at this current time? Or what would you suggest for us as a behaviorist?
Yeah, I agree with Pam. Like right now, everybody's in a rough, because we're afraid and we don't know what tomorrow will bring. And then we'll forget about it once we have a cure or we got a vaccine, and then we'll go back to normal and we'll start doing the same things over and over again. So as a behaviorist, what I try to do is give people healthy habits. Now, when the pandemic came along, we started having all these things going on. I still got up, came to my office, thought about what can I do, because it's a prime time for people they're going to need, not only they're going to be worried about their health, they're going to be like, what can I do about my money? And so everything has to go on automation and so forth and so on. And so what we tend to forget is that we have to continue with those healthy financial behaviors,
Mm,
and not to forget that, right? Because yeah, now we're in a panic, right? And so we change our behavior when we're in a panic. It doesn't matter, it doesn't matter what panic we're in, right? Whatever panic we're in, right? And then we go back to the same behaviors we did after we forgot we were in a panic,
wow. Wow.
right?
You know,
Yeah.
yeah, that's
I mean,
good. That's
seriously,
good.
we do.
Mhm.
We do. We go unless we really make a change and with our mindset. So
Absolutely.
not only do I try to create healthy habits with my clients, I have to enhance their mindset, because their mindset is going to go
Mm,
right back to what they were doing
mhm,
before. And they, and what I try to do is I try to keep them under my wing, whether it be in maintenance or whether I see them every week or whatever it is, because I know that their habits, they will go back to doing what they were doing because they've been doing it for 20 something years, 30 something years, or whatever that is. And as people, as human beings, we tend to just go right back to what we're doing.
mm. That's really important, and we talked about that. I talked about that recently with someone. They said, well, I don't understand, I did the bankruptcy, I did the,
Hmm.
I lost the jobs before. Why am I not as prepared as before? And I said, well,
Hmm.
you did all the physical things, but you never addressed the reason,
My.
the
Hmm.
core. You
Yeah.
never got to the root of that behavior, the root of that belief that as long as I get another job, as long as I buy another house, as long as I'm able to recover my car, that I can survive, then I'm good. And that goes back to understanding 100% the stories that we walk around in, what I call the 6 life structures, right?
Hmm.
That affect us. And that one for money is devastating because it's not only our story, it is the pieces of story that we've absorbed from our families, from
Hmm.
society, from our teachers, which nowadays they don't really teach economics or anything on a level for you to really thrive in
Hmm.
an economy. And so that's important. You said a buzzword, Anita, and I would like for you, if you can, please explain to me an example or give me an example of a healthy financial behavior that people who are watching right now, who got their stimulus check, who are waiting on the unemployment, who are in the bottom of, let's just keep it real. People are, this is a real conversation, and people are experiencing that because they're trying to see how
Hmm.
do I how do I navigate this space that I'm existing in right now? It doesn't feel comfortable. I do have, people do have to not get their hair done, not get their nails done. You have to look and see that, hey, every month I was spending $1,500 on eating out when I was making what I think
Hmm.
$1,000 a month or something like that back in the day.
Hmm. Hmm.
And that's a habit. So if you don't mind, please, ma'am.
Sure. I often use. Let me just talk about. I have these clients of mine, and it's a
Mm,
couple, right? And I could tell you some of their habits. So years ago, this particular couple got $200,000 in money, and within a year, that money was gone. Okay, so here they are again, and they used that money way before they met me, and I was commissioned to help them with their taxes and how to deal with trying to pay Uncle Sam off that money that they received. So here we are, fast forward to
mm,
2017, 18, or whatever this might be for them for now. And
nah,
what's happened is now they are getting like 18,000 because of a tax return. What I have done is not only did I decide to do their tax return, yes, but I put them in my counseling session. I insisted that they be in my counseling session, because the first thing they want to do is pay bills with this money, and they have a business. Instead of putting that money back into the business and using that money to uplift their business so that they don't have to pay taxes on that business, and they can roll that money into their business. Now that is a
Can you
financial, that's a
everybody
help.
and tell them to get off the
That
computer?
is definitely a financial habit. They want to spend it. Now, with my counseling with them, I found out before they were married, they never talked about money. How do you not do that? And now they argue because she wants to do this with the money, he wants to do that with the money, so forth and so on. And he's mad because she's not working. They have 4 children, this and that, and so forth. So they have to change their mental mindset when it comes to money. I have to enhance both of their mindsets to even talk to one another. They don't even talk to one another when it comes to money. She spends, he's mad because there's
Wow.
bills to be paid, and she doesn't see that because she doesn't know what he earns.
So
So
that's
here
they
you
have a
have
different conversation.
a whole
Yeah,
different conversation. So
yeah.
now
Mentality.
I have to do something with their, I have to even get them to talk to each other about money. That's even the first step, because they've been married almost 15, 16, 17 years, and they don't even talk about it.
Wow.
So
Money
now you
is
got
usually the
that.
last thing, right? I think what would you both say that money is usually the last conversation. We look at whether or not they tall, whether or not they got a job, whether they got a nice car, they smell good, they got good medicine. But we never think about, we never think about
Never think
that
that's
money,
they
that.
right?
fine as they fine as
They fight.
hell.
Come on, baby, baby,
They
baby,
fine as hell.
baby.
Woo wee.
Baby, why you love
They
me
wait.
so?
They ain't gonna make me look bad in public.
No, honey. Mama gonna like them. But Pam, Anita
Yes.
brought up an idea. She brought up this concept about, relationship conversations, couples
Mhm.
having conversations. And I think about you and I talk about the money. We both talk about money stories and the
Mhm.
paradigms that come about around money. How do you handle that? I mean, how do we when do we educate? Should that become part of marriage counseling?
Mm.
What do you do as a financial navigator? What do you do, Pam?
If they are new and just, I mean, actually, what I do when I have clients that are newly married or just got married or about to get married, I really do suggest them both to sit down with me and talk
Mm.
about what their plans are, what their
Mhm.
financial goals are, all of this, because sometimes you're not on the same page, just like what Anita
Mhm.
said. I have sat down with people who never ever had this conversation with their spouse, and this is the first time they're having a financial conversation of what they want for retirement, what they want for this, in front of a third party, which was me, and they've never really even talked to each other about it. So I like to get on the same page with that. Also I do, a values conversation with my
Mm.
clients as well, from really looking at each of them doing a values exercise and then bringing it back. I do them separately. They're not in the same room because I need to kind of have objectivity there. And then we talk about what their values are, what are her values, and then really seeing what matches, what doesn't, um, and then really having that conversation. And then I always suggest couples do what I call a money date night,
Mm.
really to get together and sit down either once a
Mhm.
month, twice,
Mhm.
bi-weekly, whatever you feel comfortable with. Make it fun, get a bottle of wine, do whatever, but sit down and talk to each other about kind of the state of the union on what's going on in the
Mhm.
household, where we at with bills, where we at, and then the broader picture on, what do we want to do financially after we stop working, reach financial independence. What do we want to do for educating kids if they have kids? But really having a money conversation. And I know that creates a lot of anxiety for some people because as Anita was mentioning, sometimes somebody's spendthrift, somebody's spending the money, somebody wants to save the money, and it becomes such an anxiety um, in the household that they just leave it off the table altogether because they don't want to go there with bringing it up because it caused such angst. So they never talk about it at all. But that's the conversation that needs to happen, because you will always just hold on to this animosity for each other if you're not having or don't understand what's going on here, who's bringing in the money, why you may be spending, so much here, because it's a habit as well, is that, and it goes back to mindset, maybe in the past, I didn't have these particular things. Now I'm making up for it now. And so I'm spending more money on the things that I want versus being told what I needed to buy when I was younger. So all of that really just feeds into the mindset issue and your money stories of those bits and pieces of who told you what, when, and you're operating out of that as an adult, either acting out with spending way too much, or you're a hoarder and you're just saving so much because you never had as much. So getting to the root of it will really rectify a lot of what goes on in the household, is that having a really good money conversation and see which other money stories are, because they're going to be two different people, two different stories.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's really keen that you said that, because even when I'm coaching business clients, or whether the individual or business corporations, I often say, do you have a spouse or a life partner? Because I want to make sure that when we start processing, that they're on board. Because if they're going to influence you. If you're saying, hey, honey, we gotta figure out how to make all these changes so we can have this holistic prosperity lifestyle and have an exponential existence, I need your partner to be aware that we may be making some changes that feel very uncomfortable. And I know Anita and I did this collaboration on a book with 4 other women, The Psychological Effects of Money on Black Women. And we all told our stories from the perspective of money. And I shared my story as a young person, growing up in a house and around people that were very financially comfortable, but they never explained to me anything outside of buying property is good, saving money is good, and you're going to be good, right? That's the only thing I had. And I learned some behaviors because of that when my world fell apart in 2004, 5, 6, 7, 8, I wasn't able to do that because I was in a habit of, oh, if I don't do it, I can call mama, I can call daddy, right? And so my husband was like, what's wrong with you? Like, don't you know? Which led to my next book, Paycheck Poverty. How to escape paycheck poverty. Experience is a good teacher. So I thank you both for talking about that. And so what I heard you all say is that even in this time, couples should be taking time out right now and have conversations about money. What do you really think is possible? I know I've talked to people who they say, well, my husband has his money and I have my money, right? And then I ask him for money when it's time to pay bills. And I'm thinking like, what? Or vice versa. And I think that's okay if it works, but there has to be some growth and expansion. So you said, have the financial conversation right now while we're doing this. And then think about the things you value, whether you've been married a day or about to get married, or you've been married a day, or you've been married 100 years, make sure your values are matching up. And then how you could do that is by creating what's called a money date night. She said, wine. I got hooked when she said wine. I was like, hey. All I got to do now is just get me a life partner again. He coming. Right? So we've covered the ideas of understanding that money is a tool, money is a servant, money is something you want to be in relationship with. And that means honoring that money is that tool and that servant. And that if you make space for it and accept it, you're going to change some behaviors. That's what I heard Anita say. Healthy habits. She said, get into some healthy habits. Stop doing things just because it feels like I can do it. There's a consequence. There's a consequence, I heard her say. And then you said, and Pam said, to manage what you can right now in your current moment. do things differently. I don't have my sign behind me because I have our sign tonight, but I have a thing that says, whenever I'm doing my coaching calls, it says, think differently. Think about things differently. That's what it says. Think about things differently. And it has the word differently upside down and backwards. That's why, that's why I love that sign. All right. And then she said, do differently, because when the fear and the monkey brain comes in, we lose focus. So we negate this time, right? So right now, I guess we're in turbulent times, you're saying, Pam, right? And so we got to start tapping into that. We got to start tapping into those of us that have that experience to develop some habits now that can withstand the time. I had someone say to me, you know, well, you guys are going to talk about money. Somebody actually emailed me back when they got the notice for this conversation. And they were like, well, I don't think we should be talking about money. We should be talking about what the government's going to do. And I said, the best government is the government called you. Right? You the best president of you the best president and CEO and House of Representatives for you. Let's go. I mean, I'm just saying, right? Because you know what your money is. And if your money has been cut in half, and if you got this $1,200 stimulus, it might take them a year before they even decide that it's vital enough to do the second one, right? So you better get some things in charge and become the president, Congress, and the House Representatives for your personal household. I really want to emphasize that with these features. Anita,
Dr. Mary, I'm going to use that the next time.
Don't be biting me, girl. Don't be, you know, we share things like that because we have to share. You know, like I
like
said,
that.
Glover thing. Yeah, you have to, we are a corporation in this country. Everybody knows that. We have a security number that allows this country to function with us for economic reasons. That's why they could get that stimulus out to us so quickly. That's why they can get this census. I mean, they're really doing the census by just giving out the stimulus.
True. Yeah.
They're really, and the
that
PPP,
makes sense, yeah.
And the EIDRL, which is the emergency income something loan, right? So when you look at all these things, y'all, what do we say to people who say, well, I don't qualify? And I don't know, what's something that each of you can say, maybe like 2 or 3 things that you think you can say to people today that they could implement besides talking to us. Of course, we want them to talk to us because we are here to serve them. But what's something, maybe just one thing, maybe now that you think you could tell somebody that they can do besides those beautiful things we just said? Is there anything else they can implement starting tomorrow?
Well, I would probably say from my standpoint, I actually have people do meditation. I'm a big firm believer of what you see is what you get. Okay. Right. So what happens is you can meditate on changing or improving your behaviors when it comes to money. And so and it was confirmed to me that meditation is really good when I saw the commercial of LeBron James. Now I don't like LeBron's, but LeBron's is the bomb. Okay. I don't care what nobody say. LeBron's is the bomb.com, right? And so but when I saw him on this Calm commercial that he was meditating and he was thinking about, I don't know what he was thinking about. I don't know what the commercial, but he's probably thinking about his next trophy. Okay. Or whatever that might be, his next whatever. And so that I really think, and that's really sitting down. And some people, you know, they can't, if you've never meditated before, if you never had a thought process before, and you think, okay, you're going to go into this and start doing it 20 minutes at a time. No, that's not true. You're not going to do that. You're not going to do that. If you need to start off with 20 seconds, 15 seconds, 30 seconds until you can reach whatever goal it is so that you can clear your mind and see what you want to do with your money. Okay, and get a clear mind. So I would say that's one of the things that you can do outside seeing one of us to navigate or to help you with your financial behaviors and so forth. So that's part of one of the things that people can do.
Thank you. What about you, Pam?
Yeah, I know meditation is really great, and I think a lot of people probably should. Like I said, you're not gonna start off with all of the 20 minutes or so. Your monkey brain gets in really after
Yep,
about 10 seconds,
fast.
really fast. So that, but I like I said, I really want to emphasize the time that we have now, because once we kind of get back to what we call a situation where we were in before,
Mhm.
you're not going to capture it and you're going to say, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, blah, 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 and you're not going to get to it. So I really emphasize this. And I see a lot of stuff on online, people, I hate to judge, but they're doing TikToks, they're doing a bunch of crazy. I mean, this is the time really to say, hey, do I need to up level myself? Do I need to educate myself on money? Do I go read articles, go read some books, go do some things like that? This is a good time where you have the time to do that. Um, the second piece is really what I call clarity worksheets. It's really looking at where are you right now in your current situation and where you want to be. And then,
Yeah.
it's like, I don't have this or I can't afford this. What does that look like on the other side of that? So if you're saying I can't afford this, here you're saying, I can afford everything I want, but in due time or whatever. Just change the statements, but you have to have some clarity around where you want to be. You can't just sit around and say, I don't have this, I'm complaining, I don't got that, and blah, 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 and this and that, and this is doing this to me. What, okay, that's fine. What can you control to get to this other side of your clarity sheet? Where do you want your money to look like? What do you want to be in 5 years? What do you want in retirement? Whatever. It's a clarity worksheet. Do it. It's kind of like a T chart. Where you are now that you don't like, where do you want it to be? The ideal situation on the other side of that.
Absolutely. I like that. And and that becomes a clarity has to be across the board, and that's one of the things I share with people too, is like, this is the time not to try to reinvent yourself.
Mhm.
You want to reinvest and get to know and reveal who you really are and what you need, your greatest strengths. So again, I'm going to say it again, don't reinvent yourself. Right? You want to begin to look, and that's what I heard both of you say. You both said, get clarity. You said, take some time and meditate and hear what's in here, right? And get rid of what you don't want to be in there. That's what I heard, at least. You said, use this time, up level. And I'm adding to that, don't try to reinvent the wheel. Don't try to reinvent yourself. Reveal and reinvest in yourself. And that comes from having conversations like this that are honest and fun and just really doable. These are all doable things. And it hasn't cost you anything except for that limiting belief. It hasn't cost you anything except for that behavior that now you recognize is not the behavior that is going to pull you closer to where you want to be. And I don't want you to misinterpret, because I can feel and I can sense people. I go, oh, we can't do TikTok. We can't do. That's not what she's saying. What she's saying is prioritize. Because y'all know I'm a goofy girl. Y'all know I'm singing, dancing. I'm calling people, telling jokes, weird jokes. I'm posting crazy jokes. Right? And so that's part of life. You need an escape, right? I'm running, I'm getting ready to go running again tonight because I love it. I love it. I can get my weight down and move that. But part of that process of that release is also when I'm running, those endorphins are releasing things that allow me to think about things that are affecting those 6 life structures that allow us to take a healthy seat in our life. And what we're talking about tonight is, how do we manage those behaviors? How do we start functioning in our mindset? These 2 women have come on here. They are phenomenal experts in their fields. They are recognized, and they're here talking to you tonight. And I'm here sharing with you tonight and every Thursday night that if we cannot get into harmonic existence emotionally and mentally, in our physical wellness, in our financial security and wellness and navigation of that, to understand how to build relationships that are reciprocal and rewarding, social and personal, how to increase our spiritual awareness and activation. That's part of that process. Trusting you, building you, the alignments we have, and then honoring our families, right? I can honor a error or behavior or a concept that was given to me and realize that it's no longer purposeful in my presence, but I can still love and honor the person who gave it to me. That's become so important. Big Mama did what Big Mama could do because Big Mama had to do it. Pawpaw did what Pawpaw did because Pawpaw could do it. TT, Ray Ray, Junebug, Darnell, and Gina are all important, but some of the information they gained was limited. And now is a conversation now with 3 more sisters that you didn't even know you had until you tuned in tonight. And we're here to help you to be able to grow into that next level, because this bubble that we're in right now is swelling. And when it pops, you got to be willing, you got to be ready to thrive. There can't be any more just let me see what's going to happen. Oh, well, tomorrow. Well, right now it's all we got. You're absolutely, positively, 100% correct. Right now is what we have right here in this moment where you can accept and you can begin to create and repurpose and rebuild, reinvest, recognize, and connect to the 3 of us and anyone else that you feel could support you. But we've given you a lot of information here tonight with the intention of you doing just that, feeling more confident, feeling more secure, but knowing that you do have a safety net that you can begin to knit together, and we're willing to support you with that process and build that safety net under you as you're beginning to step onto that tightrope called risk, that tightrope called change, that tightrope that says financial security, that tightrope that says, I'm not going to be stuck in poverty anymore. I'm not going to sit here waiting. You mean to tell me I got a degree to sit and wait for a check to come in the mail from the government? You mean to tell me I am so brilliant and I can get paid 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 figures or 5 figures every year making some multi-million-dollar company become multi-millionaire, but I can't take that same knowledge, that same discipline, that same awareness, that same commitment and apply it to my life? Oh, that's not what we did. All of this is ready for this moment right here, right now. We're here on a Thursday Thought with myself, Anita R. Johnson, the financial behavior. We're here with Pamela Sams of Jackson Sams Wealth, the financial navigator, and they are here to share and pour out with you, along with me, to help you get to that next up level, that next thing, that next vibe. I know y'all got me talking. Nita, Pam, y'all better grab me. I feel myself about to rise off the seat. Because I'm passionate about this, y'all, because I understand, I hear people every day and I'm talking to people. And I want to tell you that word in reinvestment. And I'm going to say this, Tim said that too. I can tell you that I've been on calls with a couple of billionaires. Elon Musk just gave birth to his child. He named him a bunch of letters and symbols. Y'all think I'm playing, look it up. What he named his child. And he said the X represents a sword to be able to fight through and withstand I'm just telling you, he broke it down. It was scientific. It was a method to his connotations about his child's life. And what that tells you is that you should be specific and intentional. You should be, Anita laughing because she know I was Anita know how, yeah. Pam and Anita know who I'll be talking to. And I was I got a birth announcement. I'm like, I don't even know this man.
Sometimes I'm just amazed at some of these celebrities and what they name their children. It's like, really?
Yes. And it is for real, y'all. If nothing else matters, what matters is the conversation that tells you that it's time to act right here and right now. It's time to act right here and right now. It's understand that, okay, listen to this. This is just me off my bar. You don't have to agree with me, y'all. Ladies, I'm gonna ask y'all this question because they may not want to hear this. Our government gave everyone a stimulus package or stimulus check or a financial emergency cares check for $1,200 per adult or whatever, right? So you get your $1,200. They predicted that the last payment would have came out like around this week. And then that same week they predict that weekend of them saying their last payments come out, they say,
open the doors. Yep.
Open up the retail stores. Open up the restaurants. Don't open the bars now. Don't open the nightclubs, but just get them in the store. And people weren't thinking.
Mm-hmm.
I was just not able to pay my rent. I was worried about how I'm going to, keep my lights on. We know
Mm-hmm.
moratoriums are in place, but what could I do with that $1,200 or $500? And I teach my people that I work with that when you get a refund check, take 500 of it and do an investment. Take another 500 and put it somewhere that can bring, talk to somebody and get yourself into some money. Pam, what would you say for them to do with as little as $500? What could they do with $500 investment put aside for a conversation with you? I know your fees, but at the same time,
yeah, I mean, you're exactly right. That's exactly why they want. I mean, that's what the stimulus check was for, is to stimulate the economy. And in order to stimulate the economy, you need people to go spend money. You don't need people to save money, which that's what you need to be doing with your 1,200 if you are in dire straits right now, paying the bills, doing what you need to. But definitely carving off some of it where you can start, a small investment account. There's a lot of auto type investments where you can put as little as $25, $50, whatever, into a mutual fund, stock account, whatever, just to kind of get your appetite wet with investing, because either we're going to save it or we're going to spend it. A lot of us don't invest as a community. We just don't go to that particular level, and we need to. So even if you start out small, looking at, maybe I think it was a Robin Hood or,
Stash,
Acorn or whatever, those things where you can just really kind of get in and start investing as well. And I wanted to kind of add to what you said to Dr. Marion, is that, we were waiting around waiting for this $1,200 check. And then some people were mad that they didn't get it. If you did not get it, that means you make too much money. So why are you mad that you're making too much money? And so that is just really one of those things that really perplex me. But do not wait around for that money if you are in a tax bracket where you don't qualify for it. It's not going to do you any good there. But for the people who do receive it, make sure you prioritize your obligations. You got to make sure you do that. But if you do have some, carve off some and then start a small investment account for yourself. You're making sure you have that, life insurance, the whole thing, really just making sure you have all of financial wellness, even if you have to start someplace small.
Yes, I like that. Anita, did you want to chime in?
Yeah, I was going to say, I agree with Pam about trying to put some of that money aside. And that's what I'm doing with this couple, is that their tax return, I have it mailed to them as opposed to putting it into their bank account directly, because as soon as they see it, it's going to be gone. But if they have the check in their hand, they'd be like, "Ooh, well, we got to go to the bank, blah, blah, blah." So it's that whole mind thing that you have to play around with. Even you have to play around with yourself, because I know for me, I have the weakness of I want to eat out. I'd probably need to be in Pam's chair,
Yeah, we working on that. We need to, we know what's going to happen the next time. Right?
Yeah, because my mind said, well, you just got paid from that client, so go ahead and eat you something. Oh, get you
exactly,
something. Right?
exactly.
So my mind said, well, you just got paid from that client. Go on, girl, you deserve that, And so I might need to have Pam navigate me away from the.
Navigate away from the restaurants.
Absolutely. The next time, listen, that means our next time, Pam, we have our sister girl moments.
Yes.
We're gonna have to have a conversation with her, because y'all talked to me about my wine and my that I didn't have to have 9 subscriptions. I got champagne coming from me from France. I have no idea why I purchased that membership, but it's okay. It was really good Prosecco. It was really good. And in Italy, it was really good. But
it was good at the time. It was good.
And I'm going, why did I tell me again why I'm getting stuff shipped in that I can probably go to the corner store and get for $30. But at the moment it was like, yes, I want you to ship me, and then I was like, what? So I want to go back and talk about that. That's real. And see, and this is what I want the people who are listening. Again, you listen to the Thursday Thought. I'm Marianne Sister Rafua of Exponential Existence, talking to Pamela Sams and Anita R. Johnson. And we are having a money conversation and of this present time. It's something that you can activate right here in the present moment in addressing your mindset, addressing how your behaviors are, and figuring out how to create a vessel that allow you to float through this time without sinking and drowning. One of the things I want to tell people, I know people hear the word saving and they often think that that is a restrictive term. If you don't like the term savings, in my Paycheck to Poverty book, I tell people don't call it a savings. Call it an allocation. Don't call it a rainy day savings. Call it my celebration day savings or my day off savings, right? So when you want to take off for the things that matter for you, when you need it the most, it's there. And you're not dependent upon someone else to do it. And I love what Pam said, that if you didn't qualify for the CARES check, then know that you care for yourself so much that you've already prepared and you've been diligent. Now, if you didn't qualify for the CARES check and you found yourself needing that CARES check, you need to reach out to all three of us. And you need to be at the Mastering My Exponential retreat coming up, right? You need to be there with us. You need to be on Voices of Mastery. You should be here every Thursday. You should be calling Pam. You should be calling Anita. You should be calling me, because there's some stories inside of your mind. There's some paradigms. There's some tripwires. There's some cellophane walls that are actually preventing you from being able to truly benefit from your production and fruit of your labor. So have some conversations with us. Let's see how we can take that large amount of salary that you're getting, or that dividends checks that you're getting, or that inheritance that you just got. I read this article and it said that 90% of all lottery winners are broke within the first 5 years. They're back down to where they were before they even won the lottery. So they often end up having to get rid of everything they purchased because they didn't surround themselves or be patient enough to get the right type of advice to manage that and allocate that money. So whether you're a multimillionaire or you're a thousandaire, I always say we all become thousandaires during the tax refund season. I don't get no refund no more, so I ain't doing that. But a whole nother conversation. But those of us that are able to become thousandaires or 10,000aires or millionaires or billionaires, we all need the same thing. And that is, we need a plan of action that is intentional. We need to have conversations like we're having tonight. I'm going back to what I'm recapping because this is really good. If you're a couple, if you have a partner in your life, or if you have roommates, how about that? Even your roommates, you all should have conversations about monies and the value so that you can ensure that you're not expending cash or thinking can you cover my portion of the rent this month? I'll pay you back. I couldn't resist this bag. Right? Or can you pay my car note this week? Or can you give me gas money? Or can you spot me some food? Whatever that is, you want to begin to have conversations. Pam said, have a financial conversation and also have a value conversation. You want to have a money date night. I know we had a little bit of disruption. Everybody's on the internet this time of night, I guess. I picked a hot time to be on the internet. But it's okay. But I want to say that then Anita talks about meditation. We talked about using this time we have right now in this present moment. There's no time like the present, right? To address what you need, to up level. I've talked about you not trying to reinvent yourself, but actually reinvesting in who you are and revealing the greater parts of you, revealing the truth about your financial status so you can start making some changes. Real briefly, I'll just tell y'all, when I first went through my first financial notice I said first, my first financial crisis, I was only able to save $10 out of every paycheck, $20 a month for 2 years. And then at the end of those 2 years, the credit union told me that I can do a CD. And then I learned about money market accounts. And I learned about how to take my refund at the time, put a portion into other avenues. But it takes time. We're not promising you anything except for you're going to feel better. You're going to have a better longevity. Ladies, I want to thank y'all for being here. Oh my gosh. Y'all, I almost forgot we was doing a broadcast. I almost forgot. I'm so used to talking to y'all. I want you all to wrap up in your own words. Just, once again, now we've given them all one thing already, the meditation and the conversations. Is there anything else you would like to say to the people who are listening and on the replay as well about how we can best take advantage of this time to navigate and sell off into increased financial literacy and mastery of our finances? Either one.
Well, I think it's, like I said, no time like the present, and we're probably not going to get this amount of time ever again. And where we can really just focus and be still. I always say this is a good time to still your mind, up level yourself. If you need to, this is the time where I suggest people get the tools that they need in order to better themselves. Either if you need to get more education in something, there's a lot of the top universities that are offering free classes. I mean, I saw a class at Harvard where you can get a free Harvard class on financial management or whatever. If you need to go and learn these things in order to take yourself to the next level and understand money, how it works, because like we always discussed before, they're not teaching these things in the classrooms anymore. They're not teaching people how money really works. And so you go from your household to a quasi away from home in college, and then boom, you're out there in the real world, and nobody has really taught you how this money game works. And until you trip and you fall and you stumble and you try to figure it out on your own. So this is the time where, take advantage of those resources that people are putting out there. Universities, like I said, are putting out free courses, Coursera, Udemy. I mean, all of these places have resources where I need to learn how the stock market works, or I need to learn how, to do a financial plan or goal setting or mindset shifts, whatever you need. You can go out there and get. So I think this is because when we have this time, abundance of time, is really to go out and get the tools and the resources that you need to kind of move you up to where you need to be if you are missing some of those tools.
Absolutely.
Definitely. I agree. I agree with Pam. I also would say, stop trying to be like everybody else. Okay. Stop trying to be like everybody else. So my dad told me one day, he says, people buy things to impress people they don't like. And that has stuck with me a long time. It took me to be an adult and a real adult before I realized that. So stop trying to buy things to impress people you don't like. Stop trying to buy the biggest house. Stop trying to buy the biggest car. Stop trying and start thinking about a legacy for your children, building a wealth legacy. And that's really, really important because, I have been where my mother left us only $3,000 worth of life insurance, and she thought that was the bomb.com, and all kinds of different things. So, so build a legacy for your children. Stop trying to be like everybody else. Be yourself. Live within your own and like yourself, and meditate upon that.
Absolutely. I love that. I love that. All right, ladies, we have come. Can you believe it's been a whole hour? That's our problem. We talk, we get started. We can't stop.
Yeah, we do.
But this is good. But this was a great conversation. I think we gave a lot of good information. So I want people to be able to, I got your number. I got all your numbers. I got your emails. I got everything. But they don't. So I want you to share that out with everyone that's here. Why don't we start with Pam again, and then tell them how they can get in contact with you, or if you want to make an offer to them that might help them out right now, or a place they can contact you to follow up with you and have a good conversation like we did tonight.
Well, let's start with my website. It's jacksonsams.com. That's my website. On there, tons of information, free information. If you want to learn anything about how stocks work, retirement, all of that, that's where all the goodies are. I am on social media at Jackson Sam's Wealth, so Facebook and Instagram at Jackson Sam's Wealth. And on Twitter, it's at Jackson Sam's WS for Wealth Strategies. But if you want to go to my website and you fill in the form, you can request a complimentary consultation with me. I do a half-hour session with you. So just really talk about your hopes, your dreams, go through the values exercise with you. And then, really just get you where you need to be. And if we wanted to move forward from there, we can talk about that. But you do get the complimentary consultation for 30 minutes. I think everybody should probably take advantage of that, especially now, to see where they are. I think people are kind of scared to, open their statements and all of those sort of things, and just want to be the ostrich and stick their head in the sand. Now, most of what has happened with the stock market and the violent swings and upswings are probably past us. So now is the time to start peeking into those statements and taking a look at where things are. I have referred to it to my clients as kind of the disaster or the hurricane. Right after the hurricane's gone through, you got to go and assess all the damage. That's where people are right now with their investments. So it's really a good time to take a look at that, but then speak with somebody to say, what do I need to do now with this? Am I where I need to be, or do I need to make adjustments and changes? And I'll be able to share that with people in a complimentary meeting.
Oh, that sounds so good. I mean, wow, they're getting a lot in 30. Wow. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
See, this is the give back. Like you can't hold on to what you know is good. Like you want to share it. Oh, remember Red Kool-Aid, y'all?
Oh,
That was the bomb. I'm sorry. I used to like the ones we used to get in the bottles from down south, but the packet was good too. But I like the ones that come liquid already. Oh, that was good. All right. Go ahead, Anita. How can people get a hold of you?
Okay, so I am Anita Johnson Financial Behaviors on Facebook, Behaviorist on Facebook, also on my Instagram and my Pinterest account, the same name, and you'll find under my Facebook page all the events, all the everything you want to know, how to set an appointment, all that there. Coming up, I want to say this, coming up, we're having something called a financial speed dating. And Pam, you might want to be involved in this. Now, used to be it was on the ground.
Yeah.
But now, since we got this, we're going to do a virtual one where there are all financial vendors and people come in and they talk to the vendors, just like we're speed dating. And they got 7 minutes to talk to these people. Right. And then they go to the next one. They go to the next one. So that event is up on my page right now. Go there, look at my at my page. You'll see everything you need there, how to schedule an appointment, all that kind of stuff. Anita Johnson Financial Behaviors. And that's the same with my email, Anita Johnson Financial Behaviors @gmail.com as well.
Oh, wow. I like that. I like that idea of the financial speed dating.
Yeah.
I thought it was all the men on one side, all the women on the other side. You got 7 minutes to put out your best offer. And then don't worry when I bite that. Don't y'all get angry at me. I'm already copywriting that right now. Copyright that, put that down. Go text the attorney right now. Because I'm gonna do Finding Love Financially. That's gonna be my new show. Finding Love Financially.
I love it.
So I appreciate both of you women. You know, I love you. I love y'all so much. I just
All right.
everybody, you will see
Okay, I went away.
on May 12th. You know, went sideways. We don't know what happened, but it's okay.
Yeah.
I want to remind everybody that on May 12th, we're going to be hosting our second episode of Voices of Mastery. This is a premiere series. It has 6 episodes to it. We are featuring some of the best of the best when it comes to speakers, trainers, experts in their fields of mastery. They're masters in their field. And you've already seen one of them a little bit. She's already on here today. Pam's going to be joining us again on this second episode. You get to really see her flow all by herself, and she's going to let you have it. So we're going to be here. So join us on May 12th. You can go over to Voice for You. All you have to do is fill out a simple form. Don't need to tell you anything more except for it's a simple form. Well, all you got to do is put in your name, your email, and your phone number, and join us on May 12th from 9:30 to 4. And we'll be back here again on Thursday for the Thursday night thought set, and then on Saturdays for the Saturday set down. Thanks for joining us. And remember that when things begin to cloud your way, make you feel like you just can't go on, stop, scream out nice and loud, and say, that's not my reality. And know that it's not real until you make it so. Until next time. Good night.
Good night.